was for you, Sue.
And Village Board, we are live.
That was funny.
We are live.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Today is August 18th, 2023. It's 11 o'clock in the morning. We're at LTV Studios, and I would like everybody to stand for a Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd all stay standing for a moment, just a moment of silence for in remembrance of Joseph Averzano, who was the head of our DRB, and also, I'm sorry, that's not correct. He was the husband of the head of our DRB and planning board. Joe was also a very, very active member in the East Hampton Historical Society. And he passed away on June 25th, and today is his memorial service at St. Luke's. He was a terrific friend of the village, and he's going to be missed, and our prayers and our heart go out to Robert. And I would just like to ask for a moment of silence to remember Joe. Thank you very much. All right. So, first up, we have the mayor's announcements. I'd like to announce a few things. So, Authors Night, which was this past Saturday night in Herrick Park, was a tremendous success. And we are very pleased to be able to do this for the library, and we will continue to do it every year. Tomorrow is the annual Artist-Writers Game. I think it's the... Yeah, I don't want to be quoted wrong, but it's a lot. It's been in the park very long time. I think it's either 75th year that it's going to be in the park. I believe President Clinton is going to be there. I believe Governor Hochul's going to be there. So it should be a terrific event. We hope everybody can come. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. Also, tomorrow night is the East Hampton Fire Department's fireworks, which will be at 8 p.m. at Main Beach. Prior to that, though, we have the Sag Harbor Community Band, which will be playing there. That's a 33-piece band that'll be playing at Main Beach. Should be a great night. Again, it's supposed to be beautiful, so hopefully we can all make that. The Department of EMS, Jerry Terza, over there. Thank you, Jerry. He is now handling the AED program for the town. Those are our defibrillators that there's 45 locations that they are located from Montauk to Wainscott, and the village has offered to be the overseer of those devices, which is a big help for the town. Recently, there was an editorial in the East Hampton Star, and the title from David Rattray was "Why Herrick Park?" And I think a short explanation of why Herrick Park needed to be redone was, I think we have some photos of what Herrick Park looked like. I'd like to show those.
I don't have those ready on me. Just give me a moment.
Okay. So the park was in desperate need of repair. This started under the prior administration in 2018, where they had a plan laid out similar to the plan that we adopted, but not exact. And the tennis courts, the basketball courts, which were donated in the memory of Roy Mabry, were in disrepair, and they were very close to a neighbor's house. And they also encumbered creating a full-size football field. So we plan on moving the basketball courts to another location in the park, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
We have them up.
You have them up, yeah. So on the left of your screen, you'll see this is what the basketball courts looked like in 2020 when we took office. You can see their grass is growing through the cracks in the asphalt. At that point, there were not even any hoops up or backboards because of COVID. But this is how the village left these courts in disrepair for many, many years. So we removed those courts, which were not full-size courts, and we're going to relocate them. And again, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But I wanted to show everybody how ridiculous the local newspaper or the East Hampton Star writes editorials based on fiction, no correct information. This is our tennis courts. This is the repair. This is the disrepair of our tennis courts. David claims they're functional as they are. I don't agree. So we redid all of this, and you can see in the overhead, hopefully Jason has that, and that's what it looks like now. The tennis courts were moved a little bit away from the fence line. They were not moved any closer towards the baseball field. They're in the same exact location, only they were moved away from the fence line a little bit to create a sidewalk that can run all the way from the Rudishan lot to the long-term lot. So these are some of the final pictures. There's the tennis courts, and everything is looking top-notch, so we're really happy about this. And again, we're going to talk about the basketball courts in a little bit. So, to David's editorial, this is why we decided to do Herrick Park, to make it functional, for real, and beautiful, and playable. So, we don't appreciate his editorial. I'm sorry, can't say that. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Marcos now, because we have a special guest that we'd like to bring on. Marcos?
At Authors Night, we bumped into Dr. Setha Lal. Yeah, she's a distinguished professor at the City University of New York, and I think she's on via Zoom to talk about
Yes, she is. She's running right now.
the reason for her book that she wrote. She was at Authors Night with her new book, Why Public Space Matters, and we felt that it was an appropriate time after that editorial to have somebody come in kind of inform us as to why we're doing that.
Good morning.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, it's a little disembodied. I don't know who's speaking, and I have an echo, but that's okay.
I'm the one talking.
Hi.
So, if you, Marcos,
Dr. Lau, can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. I met Marcos, by the way. Marcos, did you tell them? At the Authors Night in Herrick Park. And the book is called Why Public Space Matters. I both teach design and am a professor of anthropology, geography, environmental psychology. And I've been working in public spaces for about 35 years, both in the United States and in Latin America. And I am a director of a public space research group, and I've written lots of books, but this book I wrote for you, and it's called Why Public Space Matters. And Marcos thanked me, it was very sweet, for writing it, because what I am trying to do in this book is distill like 35 years of research into trying to explain to a public why public space probably matters more than anything else that we can do in any town or city. And the reason is because it gives us so much. I mean, I know that our mayor has been talking about it as a cultural space, and certainly more and more Herrick Park has really taken on that role of a cultural space, which is incredibly important, both cultural in the sense of books and art, but also cultural in sense of our own cultural practices, traditions, ways of being here in the East End. But it does even more than that. All of you know it's a place to take your kids to play. I take my grandkids. We all know it's a center for health and recreation. We know it's a place you can go, even during COVID, if you're feeling lonely, and that the kind of social contact in a safe space and a place that has the right kind of atmosphere and where we can learn all to be together really creates a sense of community. It's interesting enough, for me, Herrick Park is really the center of our town village. It is our, village center. There is a real village center, the old village center, but for us, it's Herrick Park. So I would argue that there isn't anything more important than thinking carefully and asking people who use it and those who actually don't and who you might want to use it, what it's there for and how we can use it effectively, I would argue, in bringing our community even more together than it is now. I mean, we all know that we're made up of very, very diverse kinds of peoples, and I imagine our community as a bunch of disconnected networks that where we don't always come together. I don't know if you see it that way. I do sometimes. But Herrick Park is where this can all come together. And one of the things it can do it is through sports and recreation, but it can also do it through events, very targeted events, some cultural, and I would argue cultural in both kind of large C and small C. I also think that one of the things we're not using the park enough for is for the kind of health needs that we do have locally. I mean, even though we have, it seems like a lot of space, I think that a park where we can all come together is even more important. Is there anything I can answer for you? I, went over.
No, I think that was a terrific explanation. We appreciate you coming on.
Okay. All right. One more thing.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Okay. I was going to say one more thing you have to think about in public spaces. People do work there. So that's something we ought to think about. Are we going to, allow people on that who are working? Take care. Bye.
Great. Thank you so much. That was terrific. Thank you, Marcos. All right. Next is roll call.
Mayor Jerry Larson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chris Minardi.
Here.
Trustee Sandra Melendez.
Here.
Trustee Carrie Doyle.
Here.
Trustee Sarah Amadon.
Here.
Administrator Marcos Balladrone.
Here.
Village Attorney Lisa Perillo.
Here.
Great. Thank you. Next up is Hugh King, our village historian. Good morning, Hugh.
Two things before I start. I think the village should be very proud of what happened last night at the Domini Workshops. There was a huge crowd there, and it was a wonderful opening. And also, I want to mention the passing of Avril Dayton Geis. Avril was the longtime director at Home Sweet Home where I worked. Okay. Mike Tracy. In 1922, Mike Tracy applied for a part-time seasonal police officer. But the village bought the village green and hook mill, so there was no money and there was no traffic anyway. So in 1927, Mike again applied for part-time seasonal police officer, but then the village bought Home Sweet Home Museum. They had no money and there was no traffic then anyway. In 1937, he applied again for part-time seasonal police officer, but then the village bought Main Beach. So there was no money and was very little traffic. In 1938, he applied again, but that was a hurricane of 1938. There was no money for that. In 1939, he again applied for part-time seasonal police officer, but then the village restored the Hook Windmill, and there was no money. Then he applied to work in the windmill, but they put Charles Puff Dominier instead. In 1941 through 1945, he kept applying, but that was World War II. There was no money. And in 1964, again, he applied for part-time seasonal police officer, but then the Rudisham parking lot was built, so there was no money. In 1973, he applied again, but the village hired Tony Cancelosi to rid the VFW building of pigeons. There was no money, okay? So finally, in 1984, the village ran out of excuses, and they hire Mike. Now, where could you get furniture in 1984 on Main Street? Diamonds. Where could you get a car down near the post office?
Markar.
Plitt Ford.
Plitt Ford. That's right.
Who was working at 1 Main Street in 1984?
Pam Bennett.
Alan York, right. What was that restaurant down Panago where they eventually wound up selling clam pies?
Oh, the Diamond
Crystal Room.
Crystal Room, yeah.
Okay. And where could you get tick collars on Main Street? Pets painted with love. Okay, now we come to Mike and Mary Ann. Okay, in 1990, they applied for a permit to grow bamboo. The planning board turned that down. All right. In 2000, they applied for a permit to plant poison ivy, poison oak, and bittersweet. That was denied by the Design Review Board. And then in 2000, they applied for a permit to raise deer ticks. And that was denied by the Zoning Board of Appeals. Okay, now almost everything I've told you is a lie, but there's a couple of things about Mike Tracy. He's always smiling, and even though he doesn't take himself seriously, he takes what he does seriously. What's better than that?
Thank you so much, Hugh. Chief, could I ask you to step up to the podium? So, morning, Chief. So, Chief and I came on to the police department together in 1984. Went to the police academy together. We served together in the old police station on Newtown Lane. 1990, we moved to the new headquarters. Mike became a sergeant. I became a detective. And we did a whole bunch of years together. And then eventually I became chief and Mike became my executive officer. And we had a great career together. And then when I retired in 2016, Mike took over as chief of police and has done an outstanding job for the village residents. And I couldn't be more proud of Mike and his accomplishments. And it's been a long road together. It's like we're brothers, and it's been a great time. So before we get into the serious part of this, I'm going to just ask Marcos to make a couple of comments. And if you could cue up the video.
Well, I'd like to proceed.
Well, hold it. Don't cue up the video yet.
Yeah, I'd like to proceed those comments by letting you know that Mike
Can you
is...
speak up a little?
I didn't think...
I don't want anybody to miss this.
No, I do want to say, Mike, before we do get that it's been a pleasure to work with you for the last 3 years. It really has.
You too.
So, this is what we use in my office when Mike Tracy asks me for a 5-minute conversation. We like to, because we have to keep him on time. And
None of them are surprised.
in the interest of brevity, as Mary Ann knows. Mike, what do you think is the number one quality of a great chief of police?
Sense of humor, and I think a self-awareness where you are, and awareness of the community, where you belong. It keeps you centered, and you got to be centered. And
Start the timer.
yeah,
That's good. Yeah, sir. So in 1973, I think...
We actually think honesty would be one of the best qualities for a police chief, don't you?
it's in there, sure.
All right, so maybe you can explain this video
video that we found in 1973.
from 1973.
73. Oh no.
Why don't you narrate for us, Mike?
What's happening here?
Do he win?
I don't know anything
Let
about
us
this.
meet our karate expert right
Can
now.
we get a volume? If you recognize the child on the left,
Oh, no.
this is a game show back in the early 70s called To Tell the Truth.
Number 2.
My name is Philip Haley.
Number 3.
My name is Philip Paley.
you remember this?
Okay, thank you, Chuck.
I remember
very
the
much.
first
See you a little
lie,
later in the
yes.
show, and I'm hard to believe that any one of these sterling young gentlemen down here could possibly be fibbers, but 2 of them are. Let's try to find the truth teller.
It's hard to hear, but basically, 2
2
of the kids are lying about
This is
being
what he
a
has to say.
black belt in karate.
Philip Paley,
One of them is telling the truth.
amateur karate
And I can tell you,
champion
he's
of
not
the
a black
United
belt in
States.
karate.
It all started when I was 5 years old. My mother and I were
documented on
shopping, and I
film,
saw
Mr.
the
First.
sign of a
Good-looking
karate
kid, though.
school.
Right.
I begged her to let me take lessons, and she said yes. Now I can break boards with my hand or with my foot. I can toss a 200-pound man to the ground, and in all I have won 14 karate tournaments, a record.
It's really
for
too
my
low,
age.
Jason.
I hold another record.
I can't
we
do
got
anything
the
about
gist.
that.
9, I became
Yeah,
the
we can
youngest
move
person
on.
in the United
Why don't we
States
move
to
into the
qualify
photos?
for the coveted black
Everyone.
belt.
Marcos, back to you about the
Signed,
photos.
Philip Paley.
Yes, Jason, I think we got another. So I just want the board to know that over the last 3 years, Mike has been sending me photos to my personal cell phone. These images are unsolicited by me.
No.
They are, that's the earliest photo. That was.
So this
thank you,
is
Mary.
this is Mike wearing his uncle's police uniform, and I think is John here? John, so that would be your uniform, correct?
We didn't know the date, Mike, so I just took a stab at it.
That's not the accurate date.
I got nothing to do with this, Mike.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
This is Mike when he was 14. No, this is actually, Mike was a police officer in this photo at a PBA function, and that is one of our old-time dispatchers,
Bob Eichhorn.
Bob Eichhorn. That's Mike and I standing on the beach.
These are the photos that Mike has sent me over the last 3 years.
So,
No particular order.
It's my own jacket, Dave. I'm trying to fix the phone
that's an
system.
area Mike should never have been in.
Working. That was actually sent to us the other day after the shark sightings.
Oh, I know.
That's Mike vacuuming Village Hall.
Yeah, I'm delivering the entire payroll right there.
That's all right.
There's Sharon. There's the device.
That's right.
Keeping the beach together.
It's the donuts.
This, actually, if you could stop here, this, I never text Mike anything back when he sends me these photos. This one, I actually said, Mike, I think your office is on fire.
40 years.
There you go. So in honor of those 40 years, the village was able to get Mike a commemorative coin, their collector's item, 100 made. And a lot have been distributed already, Mike. But I think the board, everybody here got one.
This was a
So-
total surprise and super, super nice.
So now we have a board proclamation for you. So if you could read that for me, Lorraine?
Okay. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of East Hampton would like to recognize and honor Michael Tracy for his distinctive service to the Village of East Hampton as a law enforcement officer from 1984 to 2024. Whereas Michael Tracy became a sworn part-time seasonal police officer in 1984, hired full-time in 1985, promoted to sergeant in 1989, lieutenant in 2003, captain in 2006, and appointed police chief in 2017. Whereas Michael Tracy, during his long tenure, co-founded the East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue, the East Hampton Joint Emergency Service Team, and the East Hampton Local Emergency Operations Center. Whereas Michael Tracy created the East Hampton Village Emergency Operations Plan, became a member of the East Hampton Town Anti-Bias Task Force, built a community partnership with the Family Service League, served on the East Hampton Group for Good Government since 2014, and co-produced the LTV television show Diversity. Now therefore I, Jerry Larson, Mayor of the Village of East Hampton, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the residents of the Incorporated Village of East Hampton, express our deepest gratitude to Michael Tracy for 40 years of faithful and loyal devotion to his responsibilities, for his invaluable contributions in upholding justice, enforcing the rule of law, and preserving the rights and security of all citizens. We offer our best wishes for a long, healthy, and happy retirement.
Every day.
Photobomb in that one.
I know.
Thanks, Marianne. It's been a long road.
You want to say something, Mike? Or?
Sure.
Start the timer.
You started again. Whatever you want to do.
Thanks. You have something to say? Go ahead. Just real quick, I want to get this. Step up to the podium, Mike, so we can hear. There you go.
I'm going to try to get through this quickly, as I know you, King, you have a nap coming up this afternoon. It's the best I could come up with. I'm very. It's a very happy day. I'll be happier on retirement day, and not so happy on my last day, but the day after that. First of all, I want to thank my family, all the time and love and support that has allowed me to make it to this day. I think most of you know I can be a very large pain in the, but I'm not going to say ass because you can't say that on TV. I've been a pain in the rear to my bosses over the years. I've been a pain in the neck because I'm persistent, and we got a lot done because of it. And Sue Bird for sticking by me, not only supporting me, but actually running the police department. And that's been said not only by me, but my predecessors as chief, this mayor, former mayors, just absolutely incredible. This board, the support I've gotten from this board, and every board prior to this board, and every elected official, not one of them let me down. They supported me, they encouraged me, and this goes back to 1984. Every one of them. They made it possible to put things in place. They said yes to programs we put forward, the ideas they said yes to, and they made things happen. Nothing happens without the municipality support. The men and women of the police, fire, and ambulance agencies, especially my staff, just unbelievable. Absolutely always there for me. I've got a back page here too, so the friendship and support and the guidance they gave us over the years. Our partnership with the fire departments and 911 through dispatch, and in the community, friends, role models, my bosses that I started with way back, Glenn Stometz, I just can't say enough about him and his work ethic. Bruce Cotter, who broke my chops constantly, but was a hell of a role model. Randy Saris, Kenny Brown, who I follow around everywhere, who was another role model. Everything I got done in 40 years, I got done through the friendship of others and with others. I got nothing done by myself, but I got it done through others and with community support. So every day, this job has been a pleasure. We've had some sadness, but we've had some great days, and we laughed every single day. So I owe 40 years to the community, and I thank every one of you. Thank you.
All right, that was terrific. Thank you, Mike. Thanks, Mary Ann, for providing a lot of that info. That To Tell the Truth video, I think I've watched it like 5 times. It's hysterical.
Good.
I know, it's really, really funny.
Share it on our social channel.
Before we get into the next presentation by Chris Hines from Lantec. Sorry, I couldn't think of the name. So before we get into that, I just wanted to say, last month we had a public hearing on a proposed law that we were going to enact about Herrick Park. And we heard public comment, and we pulled that back, and we were working on it, and we decided instead of rushing it, we're going to take some more time on this, and when it's ready, we'll announce it for a public hearing. So that has been pulled from the agenda. That's why it's not there. All right, next up, Chris.
Yeah, I think we have an image up.
No, you have the laptop, Chris. It's underneath there. It. Yeah. All right, just hit share screen.
So just for background, Lantec is the company that redid the tennis courts for us, the softball field, and the football field. So now we've asked them, we discussed this at the work session last month about incorporating basketball courts into the Herrick. So this is what this presentation is about.
So thank you for the village. So recently we just
Can you move the
completed
microphone closer to your face, please? Thanks. Right on.
Over there.
Perfect.
So recently we just completed the tennis courts and the softball field, brought them up to current standards, made them where some of the pictures Jerry showed earlier, they were not playable. So now we've gotten them to where they're, you know, state of the art, current conditions, everything's playable and ready to go. So we've been asked by the village to propose a new basketball court. So here's the old courts that were at the end of the tennis courts. They prohibited the straight shot of the sidewalk. That's was a safety issue for the people working in the village. So when we moved the tennis court, we redid the tennis courts, we moved everything forward, and then took out the basketball courts, and also were able to lay out a full-size football field as well. The image on the right is where we're proposing to put them over on the other side of Herrick's Park on Newtown Road. Those courts are comparable to a middle school recreational play. Going to give you 2 courts side by side, and then also it's going to give you a nice enhanced color. Whereas before you just had the asphalt with the white lines, and now we're going to get you a nice color. We're going to be able to get, make it. It's going to be something the middle school and the community will be proud to use and play with. This is just showing you a relative location to where everything's going, where the plan is going to be. If there's any other questions,
Just for clarification, so for the public,
thank you.
These courts would face or be parallel to Newtown Lane.
Yes.
And on the right is the parking lot of Stop and Shop.
Yes.
So that would be where the courts would be. It's about 35 feet off of the street, is that correct?
I believe so.
Yeah.
We did dimension. It's about 35 feet. And we also located them towards Newtown Pike so that the pavilion and the playground weren't going to be interfered with.
Perfect. Okay, anybody have questions?
It's difficult to see because he's standing right there.
Sure. There's
the gazebo, I think.
The gazebo, I call it a gazebo pavilion. It's the.
I just didn't hear what you said about it.
Oh, everything was located so we didn't disturb the pavilion or the playgrounds that are existing there now. So we're trying to minimize any impact on the park that's there. That was everything we took in consideration of minimizing the facilities that are already existing.
Yeah, and we spoke also with Wayne Hulse, your project manager, and he said that if needed, which he doesn't think so, that the gazebo could get shifted down just a little bit and the swing set as well, but that's if it was needed.
If needed.
So.
Yeah, once we mark it out, we'll be able to see if it's.
Yeah.
Question?
Have the specs been bidded out, or just added on to the existing contract?
We're using the Town of Huntington contract just because of the experience we've had with the contractor.
So you piggyback.
Yeah, we're piggybacking off the Town of Huntington.
I mean, have we made sure that these costs are in line with best practices?
Why don't we wait, and I'll give you an opportunity after he's done? No, you'll have time to talk in public comment. Continue.
Okay. And then just going to show you a couple other projects we've done in the past. Here's where this is the spring school right around the corner. We did this a couple years ago. Close up. North City Park, this is part of town of Southampton, up by the recycling center. Stevens Hands, we just completed these fields for the town of East Hampton.
Those are beautiful, by the way. Absolutely beautiful.
So that was just completed. These were Plainview Bethpage, that's in Nassau County. These had quite a bit of challenges because I know there's some elevations and stuff we had to correct. We took out some existing courts, moved some other stuff around. We brought the basketball courts closer to the school, moved the tennis courts away. This is what the the middle school was going to be using, where the tennis courts were more of a public use piece. And then these are the tennis courts on the site. John Street, another school in Nassau County, that we're just showing you some examples of the work we've done. Islip Town Hall.
Great. Does the board have any questions?
I have a question. I noticed the one from Spring School. Was that an elementary school, or was that also the middle school?
That's the elementary school. There's only one school in
I
Spring.
like the Foursquare. It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know if middle schoolers play Foursquare, but
I don't think middle school plays, but
they don't. Okay.
I mean,
All right.
we can incorporate whatever the community needs or wants.
Trustee Amidon, I can ask Kathy Masterson if she thinks that the kids would like it.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, thank you, Chris. All right. Now we're going to open up for public comment. Anyone? Like, this is public comment about anything you would like to discuss. You have 3 minutes. Start the timer.
Flip it over.
Start the chief's timer.
I just want to say that my family and a lot of people I know in the town are in favor of the basketball courts, okay? We are not in favor of a negative CEQA. We feel you should do it, and we've been saying that from the beginning. And I really feel, I don't know what you're scared about. Like, municipalities do that. And we just don't understand why you won't do it, okay? And, you know, there's things that you need to consider when you have events here, and that's parking, traffic, and that's one of the things CEQA addresses, and you're not doing it. And we really think you need to do it. And I disagree with you with the East Hampton Star. I think they were very much in favor of the renovation, but for the way the park was supposed to be used, not with all these special events that we were fearful you're going to do. And, you know, I've asked you how many times you're going to have like a tent set up in the lawn, and you said, I can't commit. I think you would agree with that. You said it to me before the meeting. And I think people don't know what you want to do. And I think renovating the softball, the tennis courts, the baseball, you know, putting back in the basketball is all good, and that's the way the park was meant to be. Okay? And I looked at, you had a tent up there this past weekend for almost a week. And I went over there today and I gave pictures to the board. And the grass is trashed. Half of it is dead. It's muddy. There were a lot of trucks coming in on the grass. That park was not meant for that. Right? It wasn't. And I also watched, I didn't catch the name of the writer from you. Sorry about that. All right. But some of the things she said was social intercourse and a playground. And that's exactly what is in the deed. And it's a restrictive deed. And by the way, I want to thank you for removing the cultural hub, because we were opposed to that, because that's not part of the restrictions and covenants that were put on that property. And I'm in the title insurance business, and I know, Chris, you were for a while. And when you have a covenant and restriction, that's it. Like, you can't deviate from that. Right? You can't. It's in the deed. So anyway, we wish you would do a secret, and we don't know why you're upset about it or not wanting to do it. And, you know, you told the judge when we went to court that you didn't have any other plans and you would remove the pickleball, and we're appreciative of that because you moved the tennis courts 25 feet closer to my front yard. So I can't imagine what pickleball would have been if you left it in there. But you told the judge you didn't have any other plans. And 3 or 4 weeks later, there was a tent up. The next week, another tent up, right? And I find it hard to believe that that wasn't planned before the next day after the suit was dismissed, because you did move the pickleball. We don't look at it. We didn't lose that suit. we wanted the pickleball removed, and you did it. And so it was dismissed. So I don't look at it as a loss. I think you acted appropriately and fairly, okay? But can't you do a secret? Why won't you do a secret?
3 minutes. Billy? Did we do a secret?
Is that 3 minutes?
Yeah, it's 3.
I don't want to take us. Thank you, sir, for your comments.
Can't we?
Thank you.
Wait, that's 5 minutes.
Thank
and
you.
I don't think 5 minutes went
Not
by.
5 minutes.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, though.
Well, let me do one more
Thank
thing,
you
Jerry.
for your
You have to
comments.
get an independent engineer that's not related to the town
Thank
to
you for
do
your
his
comments.
secret.
Thank you for your comments.
Sorry that you don't want to hear it.
Thank you. You had your 3 minutes. Thank you for your comments. Billy, could you speak to this issue? Mr. Bebon, if you can't control yourself, I'm going to have to ask you to leave.
I'm talking to. He's doing a very good job controlling himself.
Mr. Gantz, you'll leave with him. You keep your voices down while somebody's talking. Do I have to talk to you like you're in middle school? Thank you.
Part of my 3 minutes?
No, you have more than 3 minutes, Billy.
Sorry. Good morning, Mr. Mayor and members of the board. Billy Hajak for the Village of East Hampton. I'm the planner for the village. I was asked to conduct a secret review for the action that was before you today, which is the construction of 2 basketball courts. I guess I could give a very brief overview of the secret process if you'd like. I'll try to do it without putting anybody to sleep. But so prior to an agency making a decision on an action, and an action can be building something, adopting land use or zoning legislation, the State Environmental Quality Review Act requires you to evaluate the project and classify it as either a type 1 action, a type 2 action, or an unlisted action. Once a project is classified as one of those, you refer to the State Environmental Quality Review Act forms, which are called environmental assessment forms. There's parts 1, 2, and 3. And those forms are prepared by, staff of the village or outside consultants, but generally speaking, it's done by me as staff of the village. And those forms lead you into the direction of whether or not the project is going to have a negative impact or a positive impact. Negative meaning you end secret review, and you can make a decision to either approve it or not proceed with it. Positive impact means that it's going to actually has the potential to cause a significant impact on the environment. In this case, the action before you is constructing or reconstructing 2 basketball courts. Based on my assessment, it's an unlisted action. I prepared for you the EAF parts 1, 2, and 3. I did not identify any significant adverse impacts on the environment and recommended a negative declaration. So you would have to adopt a negative declaration prior to, approving or authorizing payment for the construction of the 2 tennis courts. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to.
Board have any questions?
Try to answer them.
Thank you, Billy.
Sure.
Not yet. Public comment? Any others? 3 minutes.
Yes, you got it. First, can we get a copy of those reports that Mr. Hajak mentioned?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So do we need to do a formal FOIL request, or you'll just send it to us?
Do a formal FOIL request.
Great. Listen, I just want to, first, today's the first day I met Mr. Bebon, and I watched him in the last council meeting, and I was really impressed that that someone finally had the chutzpah, as they would say, to really challenge the board on a number of issues. I think what's happening now is more people need to come out. There are a lot of so-called concerned citizens that really haven't stepped forward. All I would do is challenge them to step forward so we're all on the same page. And in terms of, you mentioned that there is there's a listserv on the website. No, it doesn't exist anymore. With a new website, there's no way you could sign up for any emails whatsoever. So hopefully Marco can basically deal with that. I was concerned also about your speed hump or speed bump issue where you kind of implied that was kind of a waste of money. Well, based upon DOT, speed bumps have reduced crashes and accidents by over 40%. So I would suggest you consider more and more of them versus, it's kind of a waste of money. The other issue is I want to talk quickly about the greener initiative. We're hiring a company that's not necessarily the leader in that space to do something that we're doing a pilot on. For a pilot, we need to give firm metrics of objectives. This company is based in Chilton. If you go online, there's probably 60, 70 companies, and there's some much bigger companies and have better ratings. So right now, we're kind of stepping forward because someone whispered in Trustee Joel's ear, I just don't want this to become another bull that's sitting in Herrick Park. People don't know what to do. But that's all I ask is that we do due diligence. We do an RFI. Where basically, this is what we want to achieve. Send out to 20 companies, have them come back, and choose one for a pilot. But don't just pick one for a pilot because someone knows someone from Chilton. That's all I ask. I have 45 seconds left. That's great. I really would probably, I think I've covered everything here. Let me sing. I think that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public who would like to talk?
We have the Mabry family here. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, we have the Mabry family here. We'd love for you to comment about the basketball courts.
If you want to.
If you'd like to. If you don't, that's fine too. We appreciate you being here either way. Time's up. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. I'm Roy Mabry's niece. So my only question is, I know I heard the report about the guy that you guys have had look at the basketball court and the location and position. When we met with you on this week, you had talked about the pavilion being moved, the swing structure moved to the other side. But when I listened to him speak, he says only if it needs to be. So you don't feel that basketball court is going to be too close to that pavilion or too close to that swing set when you guys put in those new basketball courts? Because we don't want to see something later down the road happen, and then you say, oh, we got to take those basketball courts out because it's impacting something else. So that's the only question I have for you.
Yeah, well, I think Land Tech is the best to talk about that.
I guess the bigger question is, when we have it, I don't remember the exact spacing, but what do you consider too close? Generally, when we have an athletic field, we have like we want a 10-foot buffer.
Okay.
So when you go from the inline or the sideline out, you have about 10 feet. So the athlete has a place to run out into in a safety space. So the question is where, I don't remember the exact distance on the pavilion. I'd have to look at the drawing that we did send to know that distance and what is that distance to somebody. You know, again, we can't go too far over because we have a road to deal with, and we don't want to, and then there's a grade the grade does dip down to the road, so we want to keep it in the general area. So when we do lay it out, the question is what's too much, and we're going to be at least 10 feet from the furthest point out. The playground is out further than the pavilion.
Okay.
In the scheme where the line is.
Okay. Because when we walked over there, we were under the impression that that stuff was being shifted, so that it gave enough of a buffer on both sides, but also by the fence. If you're somebody that's running full force and you're only 6 feet out on that fence, you don't have enough time to stop.
Well, you also have a few feet.
Okay.
There's a 6-foot gooseneck. Excuse me. So from the point where they shoot the basketball is 6 feet to the and then you have another, so that's like 12 feet.
Okay, all right. Okay. As long as it's just about safety.
Well, we've been in business for 40 years, and we plan on being in business for a lot longer there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All good, valid points.
Can I say something about the faces? Or no?
Nah. All right. Any other public comments? So if the board is all right, we can move forward with the basketball courts. Everybody in favor? Good. All right.
Yes.
All right, great. All right, so next, we're going to move into motions and resolutions. Lorraine?
Resolution number 2 of 2023, approve claim vouchers for the month of July.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 3, approve warrants as listed, General Fund number 77, 1 and 2, LoSAP number 76, Capital Fund number 3.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 4, 2023, approve departmental reports.
Motion to accept.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 5, approve the East Hampton Fire Department's annual Main Beach Fireworks fundraiser scheduled for Saturday, August 19th, with the rain date of Sunday, August 20th, and will commence at approximately 8:30 p.m.
Motion to accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 6, notice to bidders for drinking fountain at Main Beach Pavilion at 104 Ocean Avenue, with the bid opening to be held on Friday, September 1st at 2:00 p.m.
Motion to accept.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 7, approve 2023-2024 tuition aid payments of $750 for the following 11 dependent children of village employees: Madeline Brown, Cameron Downs, Jax Cantwell, Julia Erickson, James Foster, Gabrielle Miller, Lilia Schaefer, Grace Terza, Daniel Wilson, Mackenzie Wilson, and Sophia Yardley.
Motion to accept.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. And just a quick comment about that. That fund was set up by a very generous resident, Tom Lee, years ago. And our kids are still benefiting from it. So we thank Tom Lee's family. As everybody knows, Tom Lee passed away in February. So we thank his family for continuing that.
Resolution number 8, resolve the 2023-2024 village budget is hereby amended to increase estimated revenue and appropriations in the amount of $476,565.09 for expenditures funded by the Employee Benefit Leave Reserve Fund.
Motion to accept.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 9, approve the one-year extension of the current contracts listed below for 1 year with no change to contract terms: street drain cleaning, crack sealing, and seal coating.
Motion to accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 10, approve the $20,989.27 quote for 9 additional Lex 45 trash receptacles and additional liners from Anova Furnishings.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 11, adopt negative secret declaration with respect to Herrick Park basketball courts.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 12, approve Herrick Park basketball court design courts project design by Land Tech Group.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 13, approve the $240,416.10 scope of work from Land Tech Group for Herrick Park basketball courts, construction to be paid from the general fund.
Motion to accept.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 14, approve the annual maintenance extended service plan for Priority Dispatch System agreement for the contract period of August 31st, 2023 through August 30th, 2024 at the cost of $8,400.
Motion to accept.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 15, approve the server monitoring service with GeForce Data for the contract period of September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2024 at the cost of $6,985.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 16, approve the 4% increase in Police Officer Edward Reed's base salary as per the PBA contract for college credits effective August 16th, 2023.
Motion to accept.
All in favor? Passed and carried. Lorraine, any add-ons?
No.
Nothing? All right, great. So can I get a motion to close?
Motion to close the meeting.
The meeting is closed. Thank you all for coming.